We have Senior Director of XR Product Management at Qualcomm, Hugo Stuart. Hugo. Keep the applause coming. All right.
Thank you.
Here's your clicker, sir.
All right. Hello, VRLA. I'm Hugo Stuart, and I lead Qualcomm's team for XR. And our team is real, though, not virtual. So welcome to the race to immersion. As VR innovators, I'm super excited to be here over the next couple of days to talk about, how do we see technology, devices, and content evolve. I'm going to be joined on stage by a couple of industry leaders, so get ready for some cool insights and some fresh takeaways. Now, let's cut to the chase and see how VR advancements are going to take us to this new world. That's it, guys, cutting the cord. So as you can see, it's a great time to be in this space. And this space, things are moving really, really fast. Just a few years ago, mobile VR, many people thought about, the cardboard experience, right? You take your phone, put it on that, people not necessarily feel well. But that evolved, right? Shortly after came the slot-in smartphones, right? Gear VR. More recently, Daydream experience got to the next level. Now, we see the standalone HMDs that takes immersion to the next level. And it's going to be better and better. Year over year, we're going to see sleeker devices, more capable devices, and in parallel, we're going to see AR glasses. And in the future, we expect actually that AR and VR devices converge. It's a device that you wear the whole day. You can have VR experiences, you can have AR experiences. And maybe in the future, this device becomes an imperceptible device. But, I think the key point here is that things in mobile VR are advancing really, really fast. But we have to recognize that this transformation, right, for us to have this device that I wear the whole day and I use for, all my communication, education, social needs, this is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a year. It's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. It's a multi-year cycle where we get better and better. And then over the course of 5, 10 years, we get to something truly amazing. And we at Qualcomm, we were fortunate enough to went through a similar cycle like this in the phone space. If you remember, try to remember your first smartphone, be it, a BlackBerry, if you want to call a smartphone, or your first HTC Android, or even your first iPhone. How was the experience? Displays, they were not, great. It was entry-level processors and content, not a whole lot. But, oops, my own, that's better. So, I mean, we saw, this transformation on the smartphones, with year-over-year better processors, better displays, better power consumption, more GPU, and more content. And now what we have today is a device we cannot live without. So this is what we expect for VR. And I think a key theme for our discussion today and over the next 2 days is that we see this as a race. But this race is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next few slides. And when we talk about consumer value, right? Immersion, the level of immersion is critical for that user value, for the consumer value. Consumers need to have the visuals, the audio, the interactivity, as if the experience was real. In this animation I just showed you, there's a blending between the virtual and the real world. A chair, a table in the real world become a rock in the virtual world. And we are not too far off from having these capabilities in a mobile VR devices. And I'm going to show you the state of the art where we are today in the following slides. But this is, I have no doubt that, we're very close to it. And, I think if you try to visualize, how is immersion going to be in a few years, of course, at least me and I guess most of the audience would think on Ready Player One. I just think that it's not going to take that long. It's not going to be 2045 until we see that. And we're going to get better and better, and hopefully, in less than 10 years, we see that kind of, that level of immersion. Now, as immersion is a key, theme of this talk, I think I wanted to describe how we at Qualcomm think about immersion. There are 3 key pillars that we define as aspects for us to evolve, to take immersion to the next level. The first one, interactivity. Head tracking, hand tracking, eye tracking, so many trackings, but that's key for the interactivity. The second one is visuals, right? You want to feel, you want to see things as in the real world, of course. And then audio, right? Audio needs to match exactly what you see. So you have these 3 pillars, and then, going to under the hood, you have all these features on these 3 pillars that need to keep evolving in this race. Video, GPU, displays, and so forth on the visual pillar. And we have, at Qualcomm, we have a roadmap, and we see this evolution happening year over year. In fact, we already saw this over the past 3 years. Snapdragon 820 was what we consider the first mobile VR platform that meets the minimum requirements for immersion. Anything below or before 820, we don't consider that as true mobile VR. So 820 was the first. And 820, we enabled 3DoF head tracking. Right? I could look left, right, up, down, tilt. It's the first level of immersion. Second generation, Snapdragon 835. With Snapdragon 835, now, we introduced inside out 6 degrees of freedom. So now consumers can walk, right, can move in the virtual environment. And now with the latest Snapdragon 845, we enabled room scale 6DoF by using technologies such as SLAM. So clearly you can see here the race to immersion. Then next on, still on interactivity, okay, we got the head tracking, right, body tracking. Now how do I really interact, right, with that using my hands? Gear VR, anyone? You remember the first one? You had to, play games, touching inside of your headset. Not the best user experience. But shortly after came those 3DoF pointer type remote controllers that take, immersion to the next level. And this is commonplace today in in all the mobile VR platforms available. Then what's next? Hand tracking. We already showed it as Qualcomm as a demonstration last year, and we expect it to soon come to mobile VR standalone HMDs. 6-off controllers. So those are the, that's in the manual interaction race. This is how we see it, evolving in the very short term. Next, audio. Right? First pillar, interactivity. Second pillar, audio. So I think that many of you already heard George Lucas saying that 50% of the movie-going experience is sound. In VR, if not true, is even more true. Right? For the user to feel immersed, sound needs to match exactly what you see, and also what you don't see in the back, front. The experience of, a helicopter passing by, or, a virtual monster on the right, on your left side. I mean, that needs to reflect, sound really needs to reflect that virtual environment. And as Qualcomm, and in general, the mobile VR race on this pillar, we saw things going from stereo to object-based audio, to now 3D spatial audio with ambisonics and so forth. We actually put, a 3D audio SDK. There's a very good Qualcomm blog on it if you're interested. But, we went through this race. We are here, with this today. And of course, when you talk about audio, there's the, listening, the hearing. But there's also the speaking, right? You want to interact in the virtual world with your own voice. And we also, see voice input, leveraging a lot of what we developed in mobiles, in smartphones, capabilities of eliminating background noise, right? Multi-mic so that you get a clean voice input to NLU algorithms and so forth. So that's, on the audio. We feel pretty good on where we are today with it. And then the third pillar, visuals. That's, of course, I think the first that comes to mind, the first pillar that comes to mind, when we talk about immersion, generally. And here, the quantum leap in image resolution is amazing. First generation mobile VR, our displays supported 60 megapixels per second. Or not our platform supported 60 megabits per second displays. Second generation, 135. Third generation, 480. So that's why the title, Quantum Leap. You see, on this pillar, great progress, bringing together this, next generation mobile VR experience. So now take, your friend, that tried that cardboard experience, didn't feel good, and, oh, mobile VR is not for me. What we tell that friend of yours, try the new standalone VR HMDs. They offer the best of what mobile VR has today. Of course, the processor, but not only the processor, the whole end-to-end device construction, from the lenses to the display to thermals to ergonomics, all put together. Truly mobile VR. And this is here, starting now. Oculus Go, I don't think anyone missed, right? The announcement earlier this week, available today. HTC Vive Focus, already in China. And available to developers worldwide and coming to the rest of the world later this year, according to HTC. And then the Lenovo Mirage Solo. Great product. and to talk a little bit more about the Lenovo Mirror Solo, and to talk about a little bit more about Lenovo is doing in this space, I want to invite my friend Gunjan Shah to stage and explain a little bit more about that. Welcome, Gunjan. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Hugo. Really exciting stuff happening at Qualcomm. It's always great to see innovation being led from the front with Qualcomm. So really happy and excited to be here. So VRLA, are we ready for some cool products? All right, all right. So my name is Gunjan Shah. I manage the North America business for tablets and smart devices at Lenovo. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Lenovo, isn't that the PC makers that make PCs and yoga PCs, laptops that bend backwards? The answer is yes. And the reason why they bend backwards is we decided to be different for the sake of being better. And that philosophy of being different for the sake of being better transcends into VR. And so I'm really excited here today to talk about our VR product, the world's first standalone VR headset. And our objective for the VR headset was really to focus on the ability to bring VR to the masses. All of you are a big part of this story. In order for the VR to go to the masses, we absolutely need to make sure that we address some of the pain points that are currently out there in the VR headset. So let's start going into product. So think of it this way. Qualcomm does an amazing job with their innovation and building the most powerful mobile VR experience with their Qualcomm Snapdragon platform. So think of that as the engine. And what you do with that engine is all dependent on what vehicle you put it in, or the sexy car. And that's what I do. I take the innovation that Qualcomm brings, and I put it into that sexy car. And what I wanted to do is kind of talk about some elements of that sexy car. First of all, in order for the VR headset to be mainstream, you need to make it very comfortable. You got to get rid of the wires. You got to get rid of the harness, the straps, the buckles, and you have to make it easy as donning on a hat. So one of the things that you'll see behind me is the Mirage Solo headset. It has a dial on the back where you just put it on, turn the dial, and it fits to your head. That's the first point of comfort, ease of use. The second point of comfort is really around how the forehead pad sits on the head and displaces the weight. Because if you want VR to become mainstream, you can't sweat in it. It can't give you tech neck. It's got to be comfortable for long periods of use. And that's what we're trying to do with this particular device. And then the other thing that I'd like to point out is the sides, the gray pads on the sides. They're purposely designed, and honestly, they feel like two heavenly pillows on your face. So if you get a chance to use the demo next door, please go ahead and do so, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. But these pads basically block all the light and give you that immersive experience that people are looking for. And then the last point I'd like to call out on this slide is really the SD card. We believe there's two people in the VR industry, or VR users, I should say. The people that consume, and then people that create content and want to see it in VR. And I'll talk a bit about that later. Easy to use. It's SD card supported and has the ability to support Daydream. The other exciting cool feature that I like to talk about is this notion of 6 degrees of freedom. Hugo touched on that a little bit, and I just want to kind of bring it to reality. What happens when you take the innovation from Qualcomm and you make an immersive headset, you're able to crouch, you're able to duck, you're able to step, just like in the real world, and the world will adjust with you. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with 6 degrees of freedom. In order for VR to be mainstream, you can't make something that looks fake, half real. You have to fully immerse yourself. And the way to do that is to really support 6 degrees of freedom. And what we're calling that with Google is WorldSense technology. So this is one of the first standalone VR headsets with 6 degrees of freedom support right out of the box. So really excited about that. But it's not just about great platform. It's not about just great hardware. You got to have a great ecosystem. And so what we've done with Google is make sure that we have the Play Store that you're familiar with on Android support VR, Daydream headsets. So as of this morning, there are over 350 Daydream apps that are already out there. over 70 of them are supporting WorldSense. And it's only the beginning. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we go from what people think VR today is, which is just gaming, to something even more immersive. So obviously you have great games like Blade Runner. You actually will have more and more content where you can use WorldSense. So you can go in a world that's totally different from ours and be able to bob, go up and down and weave and actually feel like you're there. That's the power of VR. But it just doesn't stop there. You can take Google Street Views and go to 70 countries around the world, countries that you haven't been to. You don't need a visa. You just put on the headset and you're good to go. You can go to all different museums of the world, look at masterpieces up close, get that immersive experience. So VR is not just about gaming. It's about learning, getting closer to the world around you. Go to Africa, learn about gorillas, look at videos, learn, get closer to humanity. That's the power of VR, and that's the power of technology that Qualcomm, Lenovo, and Google bring. Look at music videos. Look at concerts. Imagine all the ways that you can experience things right from the comfort of your home. And then look at YouTube, product videos that are out there. Take trips, get immersive. Google Expeditions are going to be totally different now. And then story time with VR takes it up to a whole new level. So again, this is just the beginning. We're absolutely excited to bring this product to you guys. Now, a couple of key takeaways on this headset. What I call, this is the best premium mobile VR headset. And it's the world's first standalone VR experience. It's powered by a great engine, Qualcomm Snapdragon platform. It's built from VR from the ground up. Not just the best chipset, but the best displays, the best latency in the industry. And we're looking at the best mobile experience that's out there today. We're also looking at WorldSense, 6 degrees of freedom. If you guys are talking about headsets, make sure it has at least 6 degrees of freedom, because that's what drives the total immersive experience. Feels like you're there. And the last two things I'd like to highlight is probably, in my mind, the most important. For VR to be mainstream, it's got to be easy. All you have to do is open the box, turn it on, and put it on, and you're good to go. That's how easy this is. No wires, no PC required. And the last one is it's extremely comfortable. You'll be able to wear this for 2 hours without any issues. So you can watch that Netflix movie, HBO Go, Hulu. It's a great way to consume content. But the one thing I learned over the last few years, we all like to consume content, but what we like even more is to share pictures of the food that we ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, cat videos. And what that tells me is that we love to create content. And what we've done with Qualcomm as well is create a great VR camera. So you'll be able to aim and shoot, take 4K pictures, 4K videos, and you'll be even able to do live VR streaming. This is all happening. Now this is mainstream. Now we're able to take our experiences that we experience in the real world and share them with others just like we saw them. And so this is just the beginning. The other innovation that we like to highlight is the fact that this is the VR 180 app that's supported this camera. What that means is that you'll be able to go and take pictures of your kid's soccer game. You'll be able to go to Thailand and take pictures of your vacation with your kids' birthday parties. And all you have to do is set the camera, press the button, and you're good to go. There is no fuss, no mess. And then at the end of the day, when you come back home, they'll automatically be loaded to Google Photos. But we just didn't stop there. If you go to your vacation in Australia and you see a kangaroo, you take a video of that. Take a video in VR, 3D video, come back, and you'll be able to upload it to YouTube automatically. And what YouTube does, because it's a VR 180 file format, you can actually view it in the headset, the Mirage Solo, or on a smartphone, or on a tablet, or a PC. There's no software needed, no conversion needed. Again, this philosophy of being different for better continues because it's all about bringing VR experience to the masses in a very compelling way. And so, from a spec perspective, we couldn't do it without the partners from Qualcomm. Again, using the best mobile VR platform that's out there with the Snapdragon platform. 2 cameras, which high quality, and then we got built-in Wi-Fi. And for folks that are overseas, we'll also have an LTE option available. So live streaming can happen just about anywhere, as long as you have coverage. So together, we feel that we have bought one of the best VR compelling experiences that's out there. A great headset and a great camera. You don't have to have a $1,000s PC, no wires, just ease of use. That was the main focus, and I think we've really achieved it. But I do have one request for you guys. I also need your help. In order for us to bring VR to the masses, we have to be the promoters. And to help you get started to promote, I'm going to allow for the next 50 hours up to $100 off if you take the Mirage VRLA code, go to Lenovo.com, enter it, and purchase a Mirage headset. So this is my way of saying thank you, and I'm going to turn it back to Hugo.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Gunjan. Great job with this product. Well, actually, both products. We are, of course, super excited with her product. I'm sure you're going to sell many of them and make both you and I happy. But so in the talk today, we describe how technology is on this race, right? We describe the immersion pillars and how things are evolving on the technology side. Here on the Lenovo presentation, we described, how, a great product comes to market using, this technology, right, on the device front. But then there's content. And I think, of course, many of you in the audience are in the content industry, and we, very welcome the participation, collaboration in this space. Like we did with Lionsgate. Lionsgate is a great partner of ours. Last year, if you attended CES last year, we showed the first 6DoF experience on Snapdragon 835 with Lionsgate, Power Rangers. So that was, an exercise or a project we did with them. And we felt, we're taking, one next level on the immersion with 845. Let's work together with Lionsgate. And as good friends, they work with us and are, taking all that the Snapdragon 845 can do with their content. So we feel like the character in their new featured movie using mobile VR. And here's a clip to get you in the mood for what's coming.
Creating a virtual human is really difficult. I know I've done it a lot of times, actually for film and also for games, but doing it for mobile is actually way, way harder because you have to see you don't have infinite resources. Even though these chips are becoming faster and faster, you still want to be smart about your poly count, you want to be smart about what shading model you're using, and when you want to do a compelling virtual human, you want to have great facial animation, but you can't go overboard with your rig. You can't make a facial rig like for film with thousands of controls or thousands of deformers. We still had as a goal the highest possible details for the set, for everything, for Robin himself. And we still wanted to aim for really high fidelity facial animation. And we had to run on 60 frames per second. And as you know, it's stereo, so it's actually calculating 120 frames per second. So that's a lot to calculate. And we wanted to have the character interactive, so he's actually following us in space when we are moving around with these new 6 degrees of freedom headsets. We needed reference photographs for that. Now, bear with me here. We only can show you certain parts of the actor because we didn't have the right. We didn't get permission to show his likeness. Also, we didn't get permission to show his digital likeness. But you can come to the Qualcomm booth and play the game, actually. So there you will see the real outcome of it. Nevertheless, we got reference photographs from the set where we got a lot of information for how his wardrobe looks like, for the texture. And also here we learned that we don't need hair because he has a hood, and that's always much cheaper. We got scans from the set as well. Now, they were not really in need of really super high detailed facial scans. Even though this is very high detailed, it was a full body scan. And we had to interpret from a little bumpy result from that how we can down-res it as smart as possible to be super interactive later on. So our model was way, way less detailed. It's not his likeness. Then we decided for the facial animation to go a route that is very, very unusual, probably for mobile devices, but we thought this one is really strong enough and fast enough to handle that. We went for geometry capture. So we didn't make an animation rig where we have so and so many blend shapes. We actually captured the full geometry of his facial performance. Since this was very important for us, we tried to get this short time we have with Taran for that, specifically for the facial capture. We had to choose, we had to pick our battles, and we said the most important from him is his facial performance and his audio. So we had 1 hour with him, captured all the clips he had to say, captured all his audio, and that was it. That was what we had to use. We compressed it, and then we lined it up with body motion capture, but not his body motion capture because we didn't have him anymore. So we took someone else, took his facial performance, and as you can see, we have permission to show him. After that, we went into Game Engine and programmed the whole thing. We have a special procedure for having full geometry capture, but still making it interactive. So he is still able to turn at us, look at us, talk to us, look at the environment, checks out what's going on there, looking at us again. It doesn't matter if we are walking away or moving through space, and shooting at villains, which is also very still interactive for him. It's maybe not a super big deal because in every game someone is shooting someone, but he's doing this interactively with shooting someone, talking to us, looking around, shooting again, looking at us, talking to us. And whenever you play the game, try to not be too busy with shooting yourself, shooting around. Just look at him from time to time. He looks really, really great, and it's a very, very fine animation, and we're very proud of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthias. Great job.
Here you go.
All right, as we conclude, I want to leave you with a quote from Robin Sharma. Starting strong is good. Finishing strong is epic. So I translate that, the starting 2015, 16, it was good, the excitement, right? But we are here for the long run, right? We are here for the journey. We are here for the race to immersion. And we want to work with all of you, right? From the devices, from content, and other players in the industry to make this a reality. Remember, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And before I leave, just want to leave you with a teaser of what's coming next. So we're going to be at AWE, and hope to see you all there. Thank you very much, folks.